So if I'm correct, then we're streaming. No, it
What
says
is up?
it's wait. Okay. It's okay, we might be streaming then. Okay. Okay, do the
What, what is up? It is the after show where we
oh wait, project. We have to move to the correct channel. Hold on. I'm gonna move you. We didn't do it last time. Last time we didn't move. Okay.
I just
Okay, do the intro again. Hold on.
what is up? It is the Alan show
Mm-hmm.
starring Alan and
And you.
yeah.
Last time we left off on ecology. That's the last thing we did. So we're just gonna pick it back up where we left off, and we're probably gonna finish reading the article today. Um, yeah. So we did a lot. I mean, we didn't do all of this. We didn't do all of this, but we went through a lot of it. So how do you? I'm gonna ask you a question after I'm done reading. I'm gonna ask you how you feel about bees. All right. So be ready to answer that question when we get there, project.
Right.
How am I coming across on the mic, by the way? Is it good?
Good.
Okay. In that case, I'm just
A little
gonna.
more blocky than usual, but good.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna leave it on my shoulder then. Let's see. Hey. Okay. Ecology. Now, I don't really know what ecology is. It deals with relations of organisms to one another and their physical surroundings. Okay. Floral relationships. Uh, most bees are pollenic. I think that's it. Most bees are pollenic, generalist, meaning they collect pollen from a range of flowering plants. But some are oglogies, typically used in pollination ecology. There's a whole study about pollination. There's ecology and then there's pollination ecology. So I guess that's something. Which is basically what it sounds like. They only go for a specific flower. Family or genus of flowering plants. The preference may occasionally extend broadly to multiple genera within a single plant family, or be as narrow as single plant species. When the choice is very narrow, the term is monolecty. I'm going to see how that's said.
Monolecty.
Yeah, I said it correctly. The term monolecty is sometimes used, originally meaning single plant species, but recently broadened to exclude examples where the host plants and related members of a single genus. where the host plants are related members of a single genus. The opposite term, polylecty, refers to species that collect pollen from a wide range of species. The most familiar example of a polylectic species is the domestic honeybee. Okay. I'm guessing that there would be advantages to collecting pollen from a single flower type, uh, species family. What is it? Plant family, I guess. But I'm curious as to why bees would start to prefer a specific plant. I'm guessing it's because it's easier to harvest when they know what they're dealing with, I guess. Or I'm guessing certain bees got used to taking pollen from a single plant over a large period of time. Okay. I also I wonder which type of bee does better here. I wonder which type of bee does better if, in terms of um, like I don't know how to measure better, like how which bees um, have more offspring, I guess, or which bees propagate the most. Whether it's the polylytic or the monolytic bees, which ones fare better out in the wild. I'd be curious to know because I suppose there isn't much of an advantage to a bee that only harvests from a single plant family if that plant family dies out or something. Um, that wouldn't be so good. Uh, but yeah. Uh, let's see. Oligolytic pollinators are often called oligarchies, or simply specialized pollinators. That's a much simpler term. Okay.
Oligologies.
Hold on a second.
Oligologies.
Okay, oligarchies. G's. I'm gonna say G's. And this behavior is especially common in the bees families Adrenidae and Halictidae. Though there are thousands of species in hundreds of genera, as in essentially all known bee families, in certain areas of the world, such as deserts, oligarchies, oligarchies may represent half or more than all resident bee species. Attempts have been made to determine whether a narrow host preference is due to an inability of the larvae to digest and develop on a variety of pollen types, or a limitation of the adult bee's learning and perception. Huh. And most of the available evidence suggests the latter. However, a few plants whose pollen contain toxic substances are visited by oligolytic bees, and these may fall into the former category. The evidence from large-scale phylogenetic analysis of bee evolution suggests that for most groups of bees, oligolecty is the ancestral condition, and polylytic lineages arose from among those ancestral specialists. Hmm. There are some cases where oligarchies collect their host plant's pollen as larval food, but for various reasons, rarely or ever actually pollinate the flowers. Yeah. A studied example is the relationship between the yellow passion flower and the passion flower bee in Texas. Hmm, okay. That's something. Let's see how these things look like. Huh. That's a bumblebee. Let me look up the species name. There it is. Huh. Well, let me see what this. I'm just gonna try to skim through it. But there you go. There you go, Project. If anybody ever asks if there's a bee that doesn't pollinate flowers they visit, you just tell them that the passion flower bee exists. Huh. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what we can find. Oh, that's it. Let's see. Let me see if I can zoom in. No, that doesn't work. No, I cannot zoom in. Oh wait, I can. Okay. Let me just check if this is going on. I mean, let me just check if the stream is getting this. Okay. It says here, um, bees and wasps known to visit the self-incompatible flowers for pollinator services. While some contact with the stigma occurs while foraging for pollen, the small size of, this is the species name, means individuals only infrequently contact, that's the plant stigmas while nectaring. Additionally, the high efficiency of, I'm just going to say passion flower bees, females, in stripping the ethers of pollen before the stigmas have descended may reduce the potential for pollen dispersal. So they go too quickly. While a male while a male alone probably fares no better than a female as a pollinator, his combined height, when mounted on a foraging female, is sufficient to contact both athers and stigma. I think these are plant stigma, and these are plant parts. Let me, yeah, I'm pretty sure those are plant parts. Thus facilitating the classic nototropic. That's a word. Um, nototrivic. Um, huh. Specialize on collecting what? There's a word. There's a word for bees that specifically pollinate a flower. Okay, some bees specialize on collecting pollen from flowers with rays, adhers which touch over the bee's head or thorax. When bees land on them, they are called nototribic flowers and include species from...
Alan, what the fuck?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I can't listen to anything.
Oh, what? What do you mean?
Fuck.
What do you mean? You just couldn't hear it in VC, that's what?
Yeah.
uh, um, okay, so Project can hear us now. But yeah, there's a word for bees that specifically pollinate a flower. Word of the day, nototribic. Yeah. Although bee-pollinated plants from benefit bees taking nectar, exchanging nectar for inadvertent pollination, they do not benefit when potential pollinators efficiently gather the pollen from their offspring consumptions instead. In their blog, I gotta trust somebody's blog. Nototribic plants, in response to specialized pollen gathering by bees, have flowers that make pollen hard to collect, even when they have plentiful nectar. Only bees equipped with either specialized behavior, okay, or morphological modifications, or both, can effectively make use of their pollen. As for the bumblebee foraging in our Spanish lavender, it eventually bumbled off with that heavy load, taking flight in a winged spruce goose. It says here a black-tailed bumblebee with a thick load of resin on their thorax. A nototribic flower. So I guess the word is used to describe flowers. Facilitating that classic nototribic method of pollen transfer. It seems like there is this kind of like, because the way that this is being described, it feels like there's some kind of balance between the a balance between the bee having enough time. No, a balance between the plant having enough time to transfer the pollen onto the bee and before the bee gets the nectar. So I guess this is how, yeah, we're really getting a closer look as to how bees, we're getting a closer look into the relationship between the bees and the nectar that they gather. Because if the nectar is too easy to take, then the plants don't really get anything out of it. So the plants have an incentive to make the nectar harder to get. Harder to get so that the pollen, so that they can be pollinated. Which seems to be the case why the passion flower bee does not pollinate its specific flower, or does let's try to use the word. It does not pollinate its nototropic flower. That's a word. Um, yeah. All in functional terms. Wow, this is a lot taken. So I guess like if you're a bee, if you're a bee guy, if you're somebody who studies bees, it's also important. Yeah, project couldn't hear basically that whole time. But if you're somebody that studies bees, it's really important to know, um, I guess, know a bit about flowers, I suppose, or maybe florists and bee people work together. That's something. Oh, okay. Here, this is. I'm seeing it now. A thick load of resin on her thorax. This is the resin. This thing and this black thing right here, next to the wings. That's the thorax. Huh. I'm pretty sure I understand how this is working. I think I have the picture in my head, but I'm not sure if I explained it well enough or if you get it. Um, but yeah, that's the word. The word of today is nototribic. Oh my god.
We now have a word of the day.
We have a word of the day. It's nototribic. Here, let me type it in
The
VC.
word of the week, because we do this once a week at best.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're right. Hold on a second. I'm turning up the volume so I can hear you better. Okay. What is it? Uh, I suppose we can get into the molecular structure of the of the nototropic flowers. Photo of the on the top lip of the bee, showing specialized hairs. I mean, I guess we can get into the literally the we're getting on the molecular level. I guess we can talk about it. I guess we can read this thing. This is a bugs blog. I don't even know why this is going so in depth. Um, Convergent evolution of morphological specializations in Central European bee and honey wasp species as an adaptation to the uptake of pollen from nototropic flowers. Yeah, yeah, that basically describes what I was trying to get at. That's yeah, that's what I was trying to say in one sentence a few minutes ago. Um, it's a. I guess I'll just like link this in the description because I want to get back to reading the Wikipedia article. Um, okay. Um, okay. Let's see. Um, where were we? Specialist pollinators also include bee species which gather floral oils instead of pollen, and male orchid bees which gather aromatic compounds from orchids, one of the few cases where male bees are effective pollinators. Hmm. Those would be the drones. The male bees are the drones. Um, Bees are able to sense the presence of desirable flowers through violet patterning on flowers, floral odors, and even electromagnetic fields. Hmm. Once landed, a bee then uses nectar quality and pollen taste to determine whether to continue visiting similar flowers. Hmm. That would imply that bees have a memory, right? Bees are capable of remembering the flowers that they visit. That's something.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
In rare cases, a plant species may only be effectively pollinated by a single bee species. In some plants, and some plants are endangered, at least in part because their pollinator is also threatened. But there is a pronounced tendency for oligaletic bees to be associated with common, widespread plants visited by multiple pollinator species. For example, the crow's bush in the arid parts of the United States Southwest is associated with some 40 oligarchies. Hmm. Okay, it says mimic and models. This is something called a bee fly, which is, I had my eye on this. It's a parasitic bee mimic fly. Okay, I guess we'll get into this. Mimicry, huh? Okay, let's see. Many bees are what? Okay, asymptomatic,
Aposematically.
aposematically, yeah. I was thinking like a symptom or something, but it's aposematically colored. Typically, oh, that means like two colors. Aposematically. Hold on. It's an advertising by an animal to potential predators that is not worth eating or attacking. Oh, okay. Yeah. This unprofitability may consist of any defenses which make the prey difficult to kill and eat, such as toxicity, venom, foul taste or smell, sharp spines, or aggressive nature. Okay. Hmm. So I guess if you really like didn't like somebody, you could call them aposematic. Can you call somebody aposematic? Serving to warn and repel predators of colorations or markings. Aposematic. I don't know. It'd be pretty weird if you can call somebody aposematic, but it seems like that's something you could do. Okay. Many bees are aposematically colored, typically orange and black, warning of their ability to defend themselves with a powerful sting. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That's probably what you should be thinking of when you hear the word aposematic, is the sting from the bee. Um, as such, they are models for Batesian mimicry by non-stinging insects such as bee flies, robber flies, and hoverflies, all of which gain a measure of protection by superficially looking and behaving like bees. Hmm. Bees are themselves Maluvrian mimics. Huh. Let me just finish this paragraph thing. Of other aposematic insects with the same color scheme, including wasps, lysid, and other beetles, and many butterflies and moths, says the same family, which are themselves distasteful, often, though, acquiring bitter and poisonous chemicals from their plant food. Yeah, that makes sense. All of the Malurian mimics, including bees, benefit from the reduced risk of predation that results from their easily recognized warning coloration. Bees are also mimicked by plants, such as the bee orchid. Huh. Which imitates both the appearance and the scent of a female bee. Males attempt to mate. Okay.
So I just decided to fucking download morphing, uh, this morphing bit, this morphing
Oh my
software,
god.
and the setup, looks straight out of Windows XP. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. I wanna. Can you get a load of this project? Look, bees are also mimicked by plants, which imitates both the appearance and the scent of a female bee. Male bees attempt to mate with the furry lip of the flower, thus pollinating it. So basically, the bee is trying to have sex with the plant, and that's how the plant gets pollinated. Can you imagine that? Hmm? Imagine if a person tried to like have sex with a tree, and that's how the seeds got planted, or something like that. I mean, if you like, good on the plant, right? Good on the plant for taking advantage of the system and you know evolving in such a way to trick the bees. That's really something. Generally applied to a pollinator. Okay, so um, I guess this phenomenon only usually happens within the bee family stuff. Yeah. Wait, what? Pseudocopulation is also used to mean behaviors of birds that appear to be copulating but may merely involve mounting and could involve pairs of the same sex. So basically, homosexual relationships. What? Um, appear to be copulating but merely involve mounting or could involve pairs of the same sex. Oh, like pseudo as in almost. There's pseudo as in fake, and then there's pseudo as in almost. Close physical contact between mating animals whose eggs are externally fertilized. Frogs provide one such case, with the male releasing sperm as the female discharges her eggs in a process called amplexus. Huh, starfish. Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay. Let me just read this paragraph. This is weird. The cost of the pollinating insects might seem negligible, but a study of Cryptococcus, an Australian orchid pollinator, shows that they may waste large amounts of sperm by ejaculating onto the flower. Thus, there could be an antagonistic coevolution, such that pollinators become better at identifying their own species correctly, and orchids become better mimics. Oh, antagonistic coevolution. So they, the one species is trying to get them to have sex with them, and the other is trying to not get tricked as to waste their resources. That's something. And they're not even in the same species. Okay. That are indistinguishable. Indistinguishable. The plants mimic the bees. Indistinguishable from the insect's natural pheromones. The pollinator then has a pollinium attached to its body, which transfers to the stigma of another flower. Yeah. So these bees are pollinators are often bees, wasps, and of the order Hyphaenoptera and flies. I think this is the order where ants come from. I'm not sure. Yeah, it says it right here. Flies, wasps, bees, and ants. So basically, what I'm trying to get at is that not only does the bee come once, well, not only does the bee go to the flower once, but it comes back after it's done to another flower to do the same thing. Um, really, the bee has no choice. I mean, I don't even know how a plant would be able to do that. I, I'm supposing that the plant starts off with the ability to mimic the I'm supposing that the plant starts off with the ability to mimic the pheromones first before anything. Somehow the plant gets the pheromone gene, and then over time it starts to look more and more like a bee. But it doesn't just, you know, the fake bee body just doesn't appear out of nowhere. This form of mimicry in plants is called, there's a name for it. There really is a name for it. Yeah, there's a, let me, there's a name for the plants that want the bees to have sex with them.
Puyanian.
Puyanian. Pun, pun, Punyanian. That's what it is. Punyanian mimicry. Where does that word come from? Doesn't tell me. Punyanian. Let me just. Nope, that's probably same root as puya. It means runner, seeker, or and persistent. I guess it's a Persian word, but that's really not a sufficient Google search. I can't really say either way, but that's the word. We're really learning a lot here. There you go. Bee ecology. Bee ecology. A lot more complex than at first glance. Bee ecology is a real thing, people. Um, but let's continue. Now it says, as brood parasites. Brood parasites occur in several bee families, including the apid superfamily Nomadinae. Nomadinae. Nomadinae females of the species lack pollen collecting structures. That would be the scupa. That's different from the pupa and the glupa, but let's continue. And do not construct their own nests. Okay, yeah, those would be there's a word for it. I read the article like literally 2 weeks ago. The part of the article that describes bees that don't make their own nests. Let me go back to it actually. Let me go back to it because I don't want to forget it. I think it's foraging bees and whatever. Nesting and foraging bees, I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Coevolution. It should be here. Sociality.
You like jazz?
Here.
I'm
Solitary and
fucking.
communal bees. That's what it is.
Alright, so I finally know how to morph the video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on that shit. If you guys don't know why I'm not like talking as much and why all of a sudden you hear that.
Yeah, I know that sounds because you're editing a video.
I'm making a fucking video where I morph Hutch Daniels' face into Keanu Reeves a for a video that I have planned.
Hmm.
And also it's
Yeah? What?
it's a trial version of a video
Okay. Okay. Let's get
of
back.
like of a,
Let's get back to the thing. Let's see. Oh yes, the bees that construct their own nests. Actually, I think I might be confusing the definitions. Um, I don't think there may be a word for a bee that does not construct their own nests. I think the only thing is that there are communal bees and then there are solitary bees. Um, the communal bees live together, and the solitary bees, what is it? The females take care of their own offspring, the solitary bees. But I don't think either or specifically does or does not construct their own nest. I think I'm confusing the definition here. Let's see. Typically, they typically enter the nest of pollen collecting species and lay their eggs in cells provisioned by the host bee. Brood parasites. When the cuckoo bee larvae hatches, it consumes the host larva's pollen ball and often the host egg also. In particular, the Arctic bee species Bombus hyperboreus is an aggressive species that attacks and enslaves other bees of the same subgenus. However, unlikely many other bee brood parasites, they have pollen baskets and often collect pollen. Damn. Uh,
Oh, sí. Ay, qué bueno. Hola, tía. ¿Quién es usted? Ah, bueno. No hay como la casa.
Oh no, this is gonna fuck.
Sí, así se oye la voz.
hold on a second, guys.
Sucio gato.
I'm responding to a message.
Ah, sí. Ah, pues está grande. Ah,
Okay, guys.
pues la casa está.
But yeah, that was really dark. That was really dark.
Para que las dos tengan espacio, está grande la casa.
Um, in the article, let's see. Levels. Okay. In the article. Project, can you do me a favor and check if the stream is up? In Southern Africa.
That stream is up.
Okay, got it.
Ah, fuck. Yeah, I thought it wasn't.
Okay. In Southern Africa, hives of African honeybees are being destroyed by parasitic workers of the Cape honeybee. These lay diploid eggs. Okay. Okay. And diploid eggs are the ones that have both basically the bees with the diploid gene are the ones that are able to produce male and female offspring. Escaping normal worker policy, leading to colonies' destruction. The parasites can then move to other hives. Yep. Because of the bees, I think that the term is called diploid diploidy. I'm not sure. Basically, diploid diploidy is not the term. The term is haploid diploidy. Basically, it sounds kind of harsh, but basically, this system promotes eusociality within bees, which incentivizes them to work together. Because the offspring of the queen shares its genes more with its sisters than it does with its own offspring. And if the bees are able to produce diploid offspring, basically upsets the social order, basically. Here, what is it? I'll open it in another time. So this is the queen. The queen reproduces with the drones to make female bees, female worker bees, and drone male bees. The drone has only half the gene, and this makes them haploid. And the female bees, including the queen, are diploid, which have both sets of the gene. You could think of it as X and X, XX. I think human females are XX and male females are XY, but here everything is just X. I try not to think about that too hard, but basically, the drones are meant to be haploid. The drones are meant to be haploid in order to preserve the structure. If the drones become diploid, then the female bees. I think the idea here is that if the drones become diploid, that would affect the system. But I don't know how exactly. I really don't know how. I don't know how diploid eggs would affect the system, but I feel that it does. That's really not a good explanation, but that's really what's going on here. So basically, bees are able to understand and take advantage of their own system, their own social system, to basically attack other bees. The bees attack other bees on a social level. I get there's a word for it too. It's called insurgence. It's an insurgency. Wow. Cuckoo bees.
So,
Normal word.
when
I think I should have read this article.
guys, so when you first heard me talk, there were two spiders in the room. Now there are zero.
You killed them?
My dad killed one and I killed the other.
Here. I think this is going to describe this. I think this article is going to describe what I was trying to describe by actually using facts. Let's see. This is basically what is being disturbed when this is basically another form of brood parasite. It says here, by parasitic workers, these lay diploid eggs. And this is the system that's being wrecked, which is worker policy. No, worker policing. So worker policing is a behavior seen in colonies of social hymenopterans, whereby, let's just continue, whereby female workers eat or remove eggs that have been laid by other workers rather than those laid by a queen. Workers policing ensures that the offspring of the queen will predominate in the group, which is basically what I was trying to get at, which is that the queen's offspring is more important than the worker's offspring. In certain species of bees, ants and wasps, workers or the queen may also act aggressively toward fertile workers. Worker policing has been suggested as a form of coercion to promote the evolution of altruistic behavior in eusocial insect societies, which is also a better way of describing what I was trying to describe. Proposed mechanisms. I was going to say mechanisms. I guess I can say mechanisms. Proposed mechanisms for the recognition of worker-laid eggs for active reproductive workers include markers of hydrocarbons on the surface of queen-laid eggs. Huh. So we're getting into bee theory here. Cuticle hydrocarbons on reproductive workers and recognition of nest mates. Huh. In rare cases, worker-laid eggs carry mimicked queen hydrocarbons and escape policing, a condition known as anarchic syndrome. Damn. Yeah, so this is a lot more complicated than, again, a lot more complicated than it sounds on the surface. Not all forms of policing require the presence of a queen. It also occurs in a few species of ants, which establish a dominant hierarchy of reproductive female workers, pecking order basically, where top-ranking individuals reproduce. Evolutionary basis, proposed mechanisms for kin recognition, examples for social hymenoptera. I think I'm going to add this to the further reading section, and then I'm going to continue with the B article, because this is really important stuff. Really important when understanding bees. But it seems to only by the articles, going by what the article says, it seems to affect only this order of bees, only this order, this one. Let's see here. Wow. Hold on a second, guys. Let me try to go back to the family tree. Anthrophilia, that's basically what we're working with. Oh. Huh. Okay. So, internal. Okay, so it looks like the idea that I was getting was that Hymenoptera, Hymeno, oh my god, Hymenoptera. The idea that I was getting was that Hymenoptera was different from bees, but it seems like Hymenoptera encompasses all bees, and wasps and ants and sawflies. That's what it looks like. Looks to be the case. Okay. Okay, so worker policing is important for understanding all bees. I guess I could add this too. Delivery and mimicry.
I guess you could add this too.
Adding to what? I'm adding it to the further reading section.
I guess you could also fuck this this shit is fucking 20 megabytes.
You're trying to upload a meme?
I'm trying to upload the video of Hutch the Hutch Dano morphing into fucking Keanu.
All right. Let's see. Give me a second, guys.
But I'm probably gonna have to make like an overly compressed version of it.
That's what I do when I try to upload memes to Discord. Let's see. Okay, getting back to the article.
Alan, are you there?
Yes. Hello?
My bullshit just finally catch up with you.
All right. Okay. Nocturnal bees. Okay. 4 bee families. Adrenidae, Calectidae, and Apidae contain some species that are crepuscular, active primarily during the twilight period. Okay. Most are tropical or subtropical, but
Again.
some live in arid regions at higher latitudes. These bees have greatly enlarged. Oh, is it the eyes? Yeah, the olici are the things on the top of the head which sense. I think these things sense brightness. If I remember correctly, they sense brightness. Dorsal spider eyes. Little. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Yeah, it says here the dorsal ones. Yeah, it says here are light sensitive organs found on the dorsal, topmost, or frontal surface of the head of many insects, e.g. Hymenoptera, which is basically what we're working with here. Yeah, light sensitive. So I guess, yeah, I mean, yeah, like if you're gonna have a nocturnal bee, you're gonna have the light sensitive eyes much bigger. I think that would be a good assumption. Which is why the factor makes sense.
Now I shrunk the video to a decent size.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, pretty check. Here, I'll give you a clapping emoji, and I'll pin it. But yeah. So greatly enlarged. Oh, Sally. Yeah, wow. Which are extremely sensitive to light and dark. Yep. Yeah, I think Wikipedia is really good at describing what I take minutes to describe in one sentence. Though incapable of forming images. Okay. Some have refracting superposition compound eyes. These combine the output of many elements of their compound eyes to provide enough light for each rectal photoreceptor. Their ability to fly by night enables them to avoid many predators and exploit flowers that produce nectar only or also at night. Huh. And for those of you who don't know, compound eyes are basically like if you can think of like, if we humans have binocular vision, but compound eyes, meaning that we see through two eyes. But compound eyes are basically if you could like mash eyes together, like mash multiple eyes together, and you get more than binocular vision through a set of eyes. So if you can think of the two eyes that you commonly associate with bees, which is the ones on the front, with those two compound eyes, they don't have binocular vision. They sometimes have sextuple vision, which is like they see through 6 points. They have 6 fields of view that they combine to see the world, basically, with the two compound eyes that they have. So basically, compound eyes, in a nutshell, they're just built different. Basically, compound eyes are just built different. That's a compound eye. Okay. Predators, parasites, and pathogens. Vertebrate predators of bees include bee eaters, makes sense, shrikes, and flycatchers. These are all birds, it seems. Yep. Which makes short sallies? Huh. I'm gonna look that up. Sudden charge out of a bestied place. Huh. Wow.
Holy fuck! I thought it was like nowhere near. There wouldn't be nowhere near as much facial similarities, but holy fuck, they do look similar.
Yeah, they do. They do look. Yeah, they do look similar. Okay. Let's just get back into it then. But Sally. So that's a word. If you don't know, now you know. Sally is a word, which makes short sallies to catch insects in flight. So basically, they move around quickly. Swifts and swallows fly almost continuously, catching insects as they go. The honey buzzard attack bees nests and eats the larvae. The greater honey guide interacts with humans by guiding them to nests of wild bees. The humans break open the nests and take the honey, and the birds feed on the larvae and the wax. Among mammals, predators such as the badger dig. Badger dig? The badger. Predators such as the bagger. Predators such as the bagger. Predators such as the badger dig up bumblebee nests and eat both larvae and any stored food. If you guys can't tell, I am getting excited about bees, which may be the reason why I'm reading this quicker than normal. Let's see here. So yeah, very interesting to know that birds take advantage of human behavior to prey upon bees. Very interesting. Yeah. Specialists ambush predators of visitors. Hold on.
You want toasted?
Also, if you guys are looking at this, a bee wolf, that's a wasp. That's not a bee. That's a wasp. A bee wolf is a wasp. Specialists ambush predators of visitors to flowers include crab spiders. Wow. Look at that. So they are predators that predate on the bees while they're pollinating, which wait on flowering plants for pollinating insects. Yeah.
What is the honey?
Predatory bugs and praying mantises,
I like the honey.
some of which wait motionless. Aggressive mimics camouflage as flowers. Huh. Wait a second. Oh, I see. Some of which wait motionless. Aggressive mimics camouflage as flowers. So there are some predators that mimic flowers. Not giving me an example, but found first known predator to lure by mimicking flowers. Let's see here. Yeah, there it is. An adult female orchid mantis on the leaf of the forest. Yeah. Yeah, that's the head. These are the eyes, and that's the front part of the face. This is the head. Oh, flower. Wow. That's something. They also catch butterflies. That's a really good picture, by the way. How did that guy get that picture? That's a really good picture. Man's out here getting the pictures. Or for inquiries, questions, or to just say hi, just send an email. Okay, I guess we can say hi to Dr. James O. Hannon. Apologies for mispronouncing the name. I guess we can literally just say hi. To learn more about the nationwide targeting. They got science podcasts. You think they got science podcasts about bees? For inquiries, questions, or to just say hi. You want to say hi to the doctor guy who studies bees? Hey. Project, may I say something?
What?
You know how I was going on about the waifus in animatics?
Animatics. It's like.
Look, okay, I say how I say it, okay? You can't blame me. I say it. Okay, you know how I go on about the waifus?
Yeah.
Can I say something? Are you looking at the stream right now? Are you looking at the stream?
I'm looking at the stream.
Okay, the lady, she's kind of cute. I like her.
Such a Coomer brain.
But she's cute. How's she not cute? Okay. Okay. I came here to look for bees. Let's see. I was getting excited because it said just say hi. We can project. We could say we could send the doctor an email, and then we could tell him about our reading of the bee wiki. How about that? We could talk to an actual science guy, and then maybe he can talk to us about bees and how he took those cool pictures. Pollinators bond films and ecosystem services with Mine Sanders, honeybees, slime molds, and velvet worms. So there are podcasts about bees, which we can read, which we can learn about. Let's see here. Australians for native pollinators. Yes, bees are pollinators. The wild pollinator count is nationwide. It's a nationwide citizen science project aimed at increasing awareness of Australia's native pollinator diversity. It started a few years back by a team of ecologists. Yeah, we learned that this is a thing, including Minu Saunders. In an interview with In Situ Science, Manu describes how important that people understand that bees, hey, bee gang, bee gang. I'm gonna type in the chat bee gang, okay, including bees. That's the most important part that important that people understand that bees are not the only pollinators. Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna give them a pass because I said bees. But that seems to be the case. From reading the wiki, bees are not the only things that pollinate, and that many critical ecosystem services like pollination are carried out by lesser known animals. Hey, a bee podcast about why bees are overhyped. Is that what this is? Okay, let's see here. Urban beekeeping is all the rage, but it's not the only thing you can do to help pollinators. This is what we need to know. Tina Lafty from the University of Sydney says being a lazy gardener may be the best thing you can do to help your local bees, beetles, and butterflies. Tanya's work was recently featured on ABC's Catalyst as a part of the Great Australian Bee Challenge. Tanya and her lab work on understanding how social organisms work together to solve problems like navigation, predation, and decision making. Incredibly, this work can help scientists and engineers develop new technologies such as self-driving cars and autonomous robots. Wow. I mean, that's really a paragraph. That's I'm gonna link to one. I'm gonna link to one of them. I'm gonna choose one of them. I'm gonna choose this one. I'm gonna add that to the. I'm gonna add that to the further reading site. I'm gonna add that to the further. I'm gonna add it to a further listening section. Right, there you go. Further listening. But yeah, B gang it up. I guess at the end of the what is it? What is it? At the end of us reading the Wikipedia page, we're gonna send this guy an email and just say hi. Because we can. Because evidently we can, because it says so. What do you think about that project?
I was not paying a lot of attention. Again,
Come on. You're
Come on!
you're my only guy.
And your only guy not only has shit to do, but is also kinda slept like shit.
Okay, okay.
What?
Okay, what I was saying was that we reach out to the doctor guy who took pictures of the let's see,
You're a fucking hater.
who took pictures of the aggressive mimic, which was the praying mantis. You said they don't care? That's what you said? Why
You're
would you
talking to your mom?
no, I'm not talking to my mom, I'm talking to you.
Huh.
I said, what do you say to us sending an email to the doctor guy who took a picture of a praying mantis in the wild? I think it'd be
Pretty man.
I think it'd be pretty lol random based funny. You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take that as a yes. Okay. Getting back to the article. Bee wolves, which are wasps, are large wasps, which are wasps, that habitually attack bees.
Maybe that's whatever. Or keeps you asleep at night. Lets you sleep at night.
What are you talking about? You're saying are you okay? Anyways, getting back to the article. You know what lets me sleep at night, Project? You know what lets me sleep at night? Knowing
What?
that we got through this Wikipedia page. That's what's gonna let me sleep, okay? Because I was falling asleep in my chair today. I was tired. But I got
At
up
least,
because I knew that I had to go on Discord and finish this article with you.
all right. At least we know that. At least we know that bees all have double X chromosomes
Yeah, yeah.
or whatever or something.
Something like that, yes. Let's see. Uh, the eth- ethnologist is the scientific study of a and is the scientific and objective study of animal behavior, usually with a focus on behavior under natural conditions and viewing behavior as an evolutionary adaptive trait. Huh. Okay. Ethnologist Nico Hibergen estimated that a single colony of the bee wolf, this thing, might kill several thousand honeybees a day. In a day, all the prey he observed were honeybees. Other predatory insects that sometimes catch bees include robber flies and dragonflies. Honeybees are affected by parasites including archine and, and varromites. However, some bees are believed to have mutualistic relationship with mites. Um, that this, what they're describing here, is see here if I can find it again because I think it. I saw a picture when I was reading. I think I'm gonna find it here in evolution because some bees have like a pouch where they keep the mites safe. Um, same evolution. Here, it says here, some provide tufts or hairs called arcaneria. I think I clicked on this, which provide lodgings for mites. In return, it believes that mites eat fungi that attack pollen. The relationship in this case may be mutualistic. That what I remembered. Yeah. So yeah. So it makes sense to include this in the predators, parasites, and pathogens part. And this is the arachnia? Acarnium. Acarnarium thing that I was talking about that I remembered. Okay. Relationships with humans. And it starts here in mythology and folklore. And we're getting to the end here. Yeah, this is really the end here.
Yes, I am chewing off my nails.
Now it says main article B mythology. That's a hoopla and a half if I ever heard one. I'm gonna put that in the further reading section. How am I coming across on the mic project?
You're coming across pretty good.
Okay. Let's see. Homer's hymn to Hermes describes 3 bee matings. Project bee maidens.
What?
They got bee girls in Homer. Homer's poems got bee girls. It's pretty pog, man. Come on. You gotta give me that one. You gotta give me that one. Homer got bee
Alright.
girls. Okay. That's kinda nice. With the power of divination and thus speaking truth, and identifies as the food of the gods as honey. Sources associated with the bee maidens. Sources associated the bee maidens with Apollo. Until the 1980s, scholars found that Gottfried Hermann, in incorrectly identifying the bee maidens with Thrianae. We're gonna see what she looks like. Honey, according to Greek myth, was discovered by a nymph called Melesia, which means bee, and honey was offered to Greek gods from Mycenaean times. Bees were also associated with the Delphic oracle, and the prophetess was sometimes called a bee. So there you go. So in Greek mythology, bees make the food of the gods. The image of a community of honeybees has been used from ancient to modern times. In Aristotle and Plato, in Virgil and Seneca, in Erasmus and Shakespeare, Pulci, and by political and social theorists such as Bernard Mandeville and Karl Marx, that's the guy, as a model for human society. In English folklore, bees would be told of important events in the household in a custom known as telling the bees. In English folklore, bees would be told of important events in the household. What does that even mean? 3 nymphs, 3 virginal sisters. Oh, these are the ones that have the wheels. So these are the ones that are not associated like bees. Heads. The nymphs had head like women and a lower body with wings like a bee. Let me look this up. Hey, there you go. That's a bee girl. That's the traditional bee girl.
Ooh.
A woo indeed. Telling the bees is a traditional custom of many European countries in which bees would be told of important events in their keepers' lives, such as births, marriages, or departures and returns to the household, literally telling the bees. If the custom was omitted or forgotten, and the bees were not put into mourning, then it believed that it was a penalty. Then it was believed a penalty would be paid, such as the bees leaving their hive, stopping the production of honey, or dying. The custom is best known in England, but it has also been recorded in Ireland, Wales, Germany, Netherlands, France, Switzerland, Bohemia, and the United States. Look at that. It's an article called Bees in America, How the Honeybee Shaped the Nation. There you go. Little is known about the origins of this practice, as I would assume, although there is some unfounded speculation that it is loosely derived from, or perhaps inspired by, ancient Aegean, the general term for the Bronze Age civilization of Greece around the Aegean Sea. Notions about bees' ability to bridge the natural world with the afterlife. Goddamn. Project.
What?
The bees are the bridge between us and the spirit realm. That's like a mind blow, right?
Yeah.
Variation, deaths, and funerals. Following a death in the household, there were several ways in which bees were informed and therefore put into proper mourning. The process described in the 1901 work of Samuel Adams Drake, A Book of New England Legends and Folklore, in Prose and Poetry. Here it says, good wife of the house, to go and hang the stems of the hives with black, the usual symbol of mourning. She at the same time softly humming some doleful tune to herself. Wow. Telling the bees. Telling the bees. That's something. Why is this a book? Bees in America. I mean, this project, this book interests me, but does it interest you? Bees in America. Does it interest you?
Not that much, but I respect that it interests you.
Okay. I'm adding telling the bees to further reading.
I said Bay Gang instead of B Gang intentionally. on the chat.
Okay. Yeah, that's valid. Hey, bees are bays, okay? Never forget that. Okay, in art and literature, W.B. Yeats' poem, The Lake Isles of Innisfree, contains a couplet. It contains the couplet, 9 bee rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bee-loud gale. At the time, he was living in Bedford Park in the west of London. Beatrix Potter illustrated Beatrix Potter's illustrated book, The Tale of Miss Tittermouse. This is something that I might want to read in the future on the show, actually. This one, The Tales of Mrs. Tittermouse, features Babbity's bumblebee with Babbity's bumble and her brood pictures. Kit Williams' treasure hunt book, The Bee on the Comb. Treasure hunt book. Oh, is this like you look at pictures and you try to find it? Oh, okay. Well, this interests me. I don't think I'm going to go any further on this on the show, but I'm going to look into this myself. Uses bee casing as part of the story puzzle. Sue Monk Kid, The Secret Life of Bees. About loss on the paper trail, but the book received critical acclaim and was a New York Times bestseller. Huh. And the 2009 film starring Dakota Fanning tells the story of a girl who escapes an abusive home and finds her way to live with a family of beekeepers, the Boatwrights. Doesn't even give me the name of that film. Okay. The humorous 2001 animated film Bee Movie used Jerry Seinfeld's first script and was his work for children. He starred as a bee named Barry B. Benson, alongside Renee Zellweger. Critics found its premise awkward and its delivery tame. I disagree, but I agree nonetheless. Dave Golson, A Sting in the Tail, describes his efforts to save bumblebees in Britain, as well as much about their biology. The playwright Lon Paul's fantasy, The Bees, tells the tale of a hive of bee named Flora 717 from Hampshire onwards. So many bees. So many bees. Beekeeping. Humans have kept honey bee colonies, commonly in hives, for millennia. Beekeepers collect honey, beeswax, propolis, bee glue, pollen, and royal jelly from beehives. Bees are also kept to pollinate crops and to produce bees for sale to other beekeepers. There you go. Let's try to end this article today. I know this is where we usually cut off at the 140 mark, but let's keep going. Let's end this. Let's make this the finale. Depictions of humans collecting honey from wild honeybees date to 1500 years ago. Efforts to domesticate them are shown in Egypt art around 4,500 years ago. Simple hives and smoke were used. Jars of honey were found in the tombs of pharaohs such as Tutankhamun from the 18th century. European understanding of the colonies and biology of bees allowed the construction of the movable comb hive so that honey could be harvested without destroying the colony. I would say that's a good thing. You wouldn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. Among classical era authors, beekeeping with the use of smoke is described in Aristotle's History of Animals, Book 9. The account mentions that bees die after stinging. The workers remove the corpse from the hive and guard it. Caste, including workers and non-working drones, but kings rather than queens. Predators including toads and bee-eaters, and the waggle dance with the irresistible suggestion of Aristotane, waggles, and Parakulu Thousand they watch. Huh, that's that's something. That's a look into prehistoric views on bees. That's something. History of animals. Aristotane, it waggles. Damn. Never have I heard a more lewd thing than Aristotane. Here, I'm gonna put that in the chat. I was like, what do you think? Pretty hot, right? That word. Here, I'm gonna put it on Google Translate.
Aosiode.
Alcione?
Aosiode.
Alcione. Okay. It waggles. Bro. It waggles, bro. Man's just be waggling.
That's what I thought about doing too. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. As commercial pollinators. Hold on a second. Beekeeping is also described in detail by Virgil and his Georgics. It is also mentioned in his Aeneid, and in Pliny's Natural History. Wow. Continuing on. As commercial pollinators, bees play an important role in pollinating flower plants and are the major type of pollinator in many ecosystems that contain flowering plants. It is estimated that 1/3 of the human food supply depends on pollination by insects, birds, and bats, most of which is accomplished by bees, whether wild or domesticated. Over the last half-century, there has been a general decline in the bee species richness of wild bees and other pollinators, probably attributable to stress from increased parasites and disease, the use of pesticides, and a general decrease in the number of wildflowers. Climate change probably exacerbates the problem. It says here, and they cite bees decline driven by lack of. They cite this thing. Contract pollination has taken over the role of honey production for beekeepers in many countries. Yeah. Pollination management is a label for horticultural practices that accomplish or enhance pollination of a crop to improve yield or quality by understanding the particular crop's pollination needs and by knowledgeable management of pollinators, and pollination conditions. God damn. People be making money from pollinating plants. Man's just out man's man's just out here pollinating flowers, bro. Man is just out here pollinating flowers. Um, yeah. Has overtaken the role of honey production for beekeepers in many countries. After the introduction of veromites, this is the parasites, feral honeybees declined dramatically in the United States. Though their numbers have since recovered, the number of colonies kept by beekeepers declined slightly through urbanization, systematic pesticide use, acryl, and veromites. Hold on. Because I kind of. What is this picture? Yeah. Damn. So basically, tracheal tubes. Tracheal. I think that's referring to the throat. Tracheal. Primary person. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, they attack their breathing tubes. Breathing tubes? That's the word. This parasite attacks, let me say mouth, because that's more analogous. Analogous? Analogous? Anal? And analogous. Mouth is more mouth is more analogous to tracheal tubes than breathing tubes are. So let me say mouth. So it would be easier to understand. So this parasite basically attacks the bee's mouth in order to suck on their blood, feed on their blood. And they weaken the bees. That's something. So basically mosquitoes, many mosquitoes. Through urbanization and systematic pesticide use, tracheal and viral mites, and the closure of beekeeping businesses In 2006 and 2007, the rate of attrition increased and was described as colony collapse disorder. In 2010, invertebrate iridescent viruses and the fungi Nosmia carinidae what? Were shown to be in every killed colony and in deadly combination. Winter losses increased to about 1/3. Varromites were thought to be responsible for about half the losses. Um, I appear to be stumbling over my words, so I will take a break. I will take a short break from reading the article. Is there anything you want to say, Project? Anything you want to add to this bee carnage that I'm describing?
I don't know what to say.
You can say anything. It's a show. You can say anything you want.
I know I'm a fucking dumbass.
You could say Zeke Pog. You said it in the chat. What did you say, Zeke Pog?
I thought it was funny.
You could say it now.
All right, sick pog.
Yeah,
Is that the reaction you want?
that's something. Okay. You. I don't want you to say that you have nothing to add because that's not true.
All right. Technically, I had something to add.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to add this to the further reading section. I'm gonna get some water, and then we will resume the article. I'll be
All
back.
right.
I'll be back.
All right. Why you juicing? Oh, 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 oh. You're back? You're back?
Not working still. Hey,
Is up.
project. I don't know what's going on.
Alan.
I really don't know what's going on.
Alan. Penis. What the fuck is going on?
Hey, okay. Project. Okay. Project, I got it working again.
Does the camera catch me saying loud
No,
no word?
no. I deafened myself.
Ah.
Okay.
But it did catch me saying penis.
It did not. The only time it caught you saying penis was just now. Um, But I feel ready to resume the article. I feel ready to finish this article. And that is what we will do. Apart from colony collapse disorder, losses outside the U.S. have been attributed to causes including pesticide seed dressing using nicotinoids such as clothianidin, imidacloprid, and thiamethoxam, toxin, thiamethoxam. From 2013, the European Union restricted some pesticides to stop bee populations. From the Union decided to from Union. What? Hold on a second. From further declining. In 2014, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report warned that bees faced increased risk of extinction because of global warming.
Have you ever seen The Happening?
Seen what happening?
The Happening, starring Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I saw that
And
one.
M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening. That there's a subplot about the bees.
Disappearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
But apparently the bees are just drifting, are just like getting lost or something. Apparently.
You know what else there's a subplot for bees disappearing in?
Where?
In Doctor Who. Doctor
Huh.
Who. I think it's season 5. Let me check. Season 5. It was a I wouldn't even call it a B plot, man. I'd call it like a Z plot. But I don't even know how, but it
No, you probably should call it a B plot.
Yeah, I should call it a B plot. Season 4. Season 4 of Doctor Who has the B plot that the bees are disappearing. And believe it or not, it does play an important role in the climax of the season. I'm the real starter? Okay. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. But yeah. In 2018, the European Union decided to ban field use of all 3 major neonicotinoids. 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 They remain permitted in veterinary greenhouse and vehicle transport usage. Veterinary. That comes from the word verdant.
Veterinary.
Oh, veterinary, not verdant. Veterinary. And vehicle transport usage. Farmers have focused on alternative solutions to mitigate these problems. By raising native plants, they provide food for native bee pollinators like Lacioguasum virecti and L. Lesoglossum leocusiconium. Leucosinium. Leucosonium. Right? Widespread solitary sweet bee. I keep saying sweat bee is sweet bee, and I don't know why. Oh, okay. Leading to less reliance on honeybee populations. I would say that this is a smart decision. Very very cash money. I know that is the opposite use of the phrase. People usually say that things are not cash money, but I would say, on the contrary, this right here is very cash money, and I like it. Honey is a natural product produced by bees and stored for their own use, but its sweetness has always appealed to humans. Before domestication of bees was even attempted, humans were raiding their nests for honey. Smoke was often used to subdue bees, as we read before. As such activities were depicted in rock paintings in Spain dated to 1500 BC. Honeybees are used commercially to produce honey, as we all know. They also produce some substances used as dietary supplements with possible health benefits: pollen, propolis, and royal jelly. Though all of these can also cause allergic reactions. That makes sense. Continuing. As food, you guys didn't think that people ate bees, did you? Bees are considered edible insects. Hey, people in some countries eat insects. Also a fact. Including the larvae and pupae of bees, mostly stingless species. They also gather larvae, pupae, and surrounding cells, known as bee brood, for consumption. In the Indonesian dish, let me see how I pronounce this. Botok Tawan? Is it Botok Tawan, or is there a different inflection? Hungarian? No, that's not it. Indonesia.
Botok tawon.
I was right. Botok Tawan? Really? And the Indonesian dish, Botok Tawan, from Central and East Java. That's like it's an island. Here, bee larvae are eaten as companion to rice after being mixed and shredded with coconut, wrapped in banana leaves, and steamed. This is it. So it's like wow. So they have Javanese tamales with bees in them. I know that's probably a bastardization of Botok Tawan. um, Describing Botok Tawan as Javanese tamales is probably not very cash money, on the contrary, but it is how I choose to describe it. Yeah. So here we have India, and here we have Java, right here, over here. India, and this is Java right here. Yeah. And this is Australia, so here we get a sense of where Java is. And here we can get a sense of where to go on vacation when you want to eat bees. Okay? This is important. As bee gang, okay, we need to know the ins and outs of bees. And by knowing the ins and outs of bees, we know what bees taste like. Bee brood. Bee brood, although low in calcium, has been found to be high in protein and carbohydrate, and a useful source of phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, and trace minerals of iron, zinc, and copper, and selenium. In addition, while bee brood was high in fat and contained no fat-soluble vitamins, such as A, D, and E, but it was a good source of the most water-soluble B vitamins, including choline, as well as vitamin C. This fat was composed mostly of saturated and monosaturated fatty acids, with 2% being polysaturated fatty acids. Bees.
Fat ass acids.
Okay, Project. You're the one who said I have a tumor brain. Why you say that? As alternative medicine.
Oh, you made a joke and you tell me I have a Kumar brain because I every time I look at a woman I say kind of thick though, kind of thick though, kind of thick though.
Okay, but am I lying? But am I lying though? But I'm not lying. I'm not a liar. Okay. But when you say fatty acids as fatty acids, I don't take kindly to that. Okay? Okay?
Black baby Yoda. My brain is right.
Okay. Okay, getting back to the article, we're nearly at the end. Apitherapy. Apitherapy is a branch of alternative medicine that uses honey bee products, including raw honey, royal jelly, pollen, propolis, beeswax, and apitoxin, or honeybee venom, is a hemitoxic bitter colorless liquid containing proteins which may produce local inflammation. The claim that apitherapy treats cancer, what? Anyways, which some proponents of apitherapy make, remains unsupported by evidence-based medicine. That's a doozy. I kind of don't even want to. Adverse reactions to bee venom therapy are frequent, Like, I guess no. This is kind of weird.
Are we still on the bees?
Yes, Bojack, we're still on the bees. We're bee gang, okay? We're still on the bees.
Are we still on the bees article?
What? We're on a subsection of the bees article. Introduction for bee sting venom and apitherapy. Look at this. Look at this dude. In March 2018, it was reported that a 55-year-old woman died after receiving live bee acupuncture, suffering several severe anaphylactic episodes as a seizure, which apitherapy practitioner did not respond to by administering adrenaline. While stabilized by ambulance personnel on the way to the hospital, she died a few weeks later from complications resulting in multiple organ failure. Live bee acupuncture therapy is unsafe and unadvisable, according to researchers who studied the case. You know what? I'll link it. I'll link it as a further read.
You should have done that from the beginning.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to see if it was a good move or not.
Yeah, but you should have put it in further reading and then just kept going with the bees.
No, I didn't want to do that. The stings. The painful stings of bees are mostly associated with the poison gland and the Doepfer's gland, which are abdominal exocrine glands containing various chemicals. In this thing, the Doepfer gland most commonly contains octu. I gotta Google translate this one.
Octadecanolead.
Octadecanolead. Mostly contains octadecanolead as well as some eoconsolinate. There are also evidence of evidence of N-tricosine and N-heptacosine and 22 docosahexaenolead. However, the secretion of these glands could also be used for nest construction. There it is, guys. That's the tea right there. The same way that bees sting you is the same way that they make their nests. Here it is, guys. That's the whole article, really. That is the whole article.
Wait, the bees article just fucking end?
Yeah.
Huh.
Did you not pay attention to the ending Oh, the bees article. Are you not vegan, Project? Is this like? Is this like a? Is this like a not serious thing for you? Because it's pretty serious for me.
Be more serious for me. I don't understand. I fuck, fuck. Look,
Yeah. Yeah. What? Here.
it's not the thing that I expect when I'm in the Ellen show.
What? Us finishing what we're reading? That's not what you expect.
No, fuck off. That's not what I'm trying to say. You fucking know it.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not supposed.
I really didn't understand what you were saying. I'm
Like
sorry.
when we finish fucking Slaughterhouse 5, if we finish Slaughterhouse 5, are are you are you trying to ask me what's the what's my favorite quote or some shit like that?
Maybe. Why do you ask? What were you referring to before I interrupted you? I really don't know.
I really don't know.
You were saying something like that's not what you expected, but I don't know what you were talking about.
I expected that it be something that I could just be that I could pick up a couple notorious things and mostly be use it as a background, right?
Ah, okay.
That's what I've been use. That's what I've been doing this whole time with Slaughterhouse 5.
Yeah, you said that before, and that's fine by me. If you're looking on the stream right now, I have a.
But it wasn't fine by you now.
It was. It was. I was just making you know,
But you were all like, "Oh, you don't give a shit."
I was being conversational. I wasn't trying to be accusatory.
All right,
I didn't mean it like that.
all right.
And besides, if anything, I'm the one who doesn't expect us to finish what we're reading because it took us 3 weeks to read this article. I mean, 3 weeks. 3 weeks of B gang. And now we're certified B gang. We're certified B gang. Everybody here is B gang, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
If anybody made it this far into the stream and watched all 3 episodes, you're B gang. I'm gonna put a hashtag certified B gang in the chat. Well, that's it. That is it. That's the end of the stream. That's it, everybody.
Yeah.
You know what? I believe, I believe, I believe this moment deserves something more special. Yeah. I will, I will, what is it? I will play a music video on stream for the viewers. It's called Blind Melon. I mean, it's called No Rain, and it's by a group called Blind Melon, which features a B
We're
girl.
gonna play a whole music video. It wasn't. It wasn't good enough to spend 3 weeks, make 3 weeks. Now we're gonna get fucking copyright claimed.
We're not gonna get copyright claimed, right? I mean, I am taking that risk, right? I don't think so. If we do, I can just mute this section or cut this section out. I like that one. I like that. I like that. I like that one. Okay. Yes. Let's end this stream by playing this video. I will try to full screen it, see what happens. Okay. I think this video is pretty iconic, so I think it's a good video to end the stream on.